If there's one player the 49ers can least afford to lose the rest of the season, who is it? What's up? Welcome to another week of Cohn and Krueger. That's Larry Krueger. I'm Grant Cohn. Make sure you like and subscribe to this stream. Make sure you subscribe to Larry's channel. It's fantastic. Today we're talking Matthew Judon. We're talking who needs to step up, who the Niners can least afford to lose, and who needs more playing time, because I feel like there's probably at least one person who's being underutilized. This week's episode is brought to you by 1-800-CONTACTS. If you hate running out of contacts or having to make an eye doctor appointment every time you're running low, 1-800-CONTACTS is the best solution. They will save you time and money. Getting contacts doesn't have to be a hassle. Let 1-800-CONTACTS get you the contact lenses you need right now. Order online at 1-800-CONTACTS.com or download the free 1-800-CONTACTS app today. Larry, no, you need them. And then we're also brought to you by Fabletics. If you saw me on Sunday, I was wearing a green Fabletics suit. I loved it. Fabletics already has amazing deals, but right now they're running their biggest sale of the year on top of that. And I've got an exclusive offer just for you. 80% off everything when you sign up as a VIP. Head to fabletics.com/Cohn and sign up as a VIP to get 80% off everything. This is only available through my link, so go to fabletics.com/Cohn to sign up as a VIP and get 80% off. That's fabletics.com/Cohn. 80% off is a good deal, Larry. It's a lot. It's almost 100%.
I mean, anything over 50% is pretty damn good.
I'm taking that. I don't even care what it is at that point, but Fabletics is good stuff. Matthew Judon just got cut by the Dolphins, who, are tanking at this point. They're benching their starting quarterback. They just suck. But Matthew Judon was a 4-time Pro Bowler a few years ago. This year, he doesn't have any sacks per se, but he still is a veteran who could give you depth. I mean, the Niners are playing Robert Beal out here. Should the Niners sign Matthew Judon?
I would definitely bring him in for a workout. I would be very interested. Usually if guys who have a knack to pass to rush the passer can continue to rush the passer even in their old age. So yeah, I think they, does a thirsty man need a drink of water? Yeah, they, Sam Aquinu's coming back at some point. That should help. But yeah, they need help. They need help anywhere they can get it. I'd be having tryout camps for every guy possible between now and the end of the season, just trying to unearth that one freak that might be out there, because you need help.
Yeah, what's the only reason not to sign Matthew Judon? It's not like you'd have to give him a 2-year deal. You wouldn't have to trade for him. He's available. And it would only just cost Jed York cash. I'm in favor of Jed York spending more cash. That's the only person it would cost is Jed.
By the way, just sometimes it seems like, these moves don't make it, why? Well, if the Niners had signed Phillip Rivers when they had thought about signing Phillip Rivers, they would have gone to Phillip Rivers instead of Josh Johnson when Purdy had his elbow ripped out. How do you think that would have fared? I think Phillip Rivers probably would have done better.
I agree. I mean, it seems to me that the Niners have gotten some good pass rush from Cleveland Farrell and Keon White, but neither of those guys are really setting the edge. I mean, if you don't believe me, go back and watch the game on Sunday. Tony Pollard couldn't miss left, right. Either way, it seemed like the Niners couldn't set an edge. They could when they had Michael Williams and Nick Bosa. Now they don't. If maybe Matthew Judon could come in and help Sam Okwano actually stop a run.
I mean, they badly need help on that defensive line. They should be interested in any and all comers. Anybody who can help them, they should be interested in.
Yeah, to me, if they don't go out and get a guy like him, it's just cheapness. So that brings me to my next topic. It's a bonus topic. I didn't tell Larry about this, so he's not prepared.
Surprise.
On your feet.
Yes.
What do you think the one offseason move the Niners made? Let me phrase this better. What is the one offseason move the Niners regret the most?
I'm not
Something
prepared.
They did or didn't do.
I'm not prepared for that question. What is the offseason move that that I don't
The
like is
Niners regret the most, whether
they
it was a
regret.
signing or someone they didn't sign, someone they let go. What do you think it is?
Uh, the offseason move that they regret the most. I would say it's probably letting go of even though I like the young safeties, it's definitely letting go of Talanoa Hufanga.
Hmm.
He's 27. He's one of the best young safeties in football right now. I mean, he's playing at a really high level, so I would say that.
That's an interesting one. I think I'm gonna go with the other guy they let go to Denver, Greenlaw. And the only reason I would give it to Greenlaw is because Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa are playing pretty well. Greenlaw, I mean, the Niners linebackers are pretty bad. I mean, D Winters is never going to be Dre Greenlaw. He's not that expensive, and I felt like I still don't really understand why the Niners let him go. Was it financial? Was it because of injuries? Because he showed you last year that he could be Dre Greenlaw again. You just had to be patient. He wasn't quite ready week 1 this year, but right now, he looks great. He looks like Dre Greenlaw.
Well, I mean, they've gone through a lot of linebackers for sure. There's no question when you look at the rushing stats, they miss Tatum Bethune. I mean, look at the last 3 weeks without Bethune. Look at the difference. So they need somebody. I would say, just judging, from how this year has gone, if I was going to hold the Niners' feet to the fire on somebody that they let out the door, it would be Aziz Al Shair. Why did you? Aziz Al Shair is wearing the green dot on the league's best defense. He's a great guy. You found him, discovered him as an undrafted free agent. To me, I'm disgusted that he's a Texan.
I mean, I agree with that. As far as Greenlaw goes, he wasn't expensive. The Niners could afford him. I mean, they had the cap space. It just felt like they tried to make it seem like he didn't want to be here anymore because he wanted to be the man. It felt like they thought he wasn't going to stay healthy. And I think maybe they'll be right, but so far, the guy that was the Iron Man, Fred Warner, is hurt. Sometimes you can't really predict who's going to be healthy or not. And man, they would be so much better right now if they had Hafunga or Greenlaw.
Oh, no question. I mean, they'd be a smarter team as well because Afunga's really a smart player. Greenlaw's really a smart player. Um, I understand the Greenlaw thing to a degree because his body was breaking down, and I think we saw more of that this year in Denver, and he hasn't played anywhere close to the full schedule. But Hafanga was young and in his prime and didn't have all those injuries, and but uh, I just think they miss him, and they miss him. He's a really really good winning football player, and he's playing well. I mean, he's one of the reasons Denver's so good.
If they had, I agree. Hafunga's a really good player. He's younger than
Yeah.
Greenlaw. If they had re-signed Greenlaw, they wouldn't have drafted Nick Martin, who may end up being really good, but they didn't like him this year. And maybe they take someone like Cam Scatterbo with that pick. Kind of an interesting domino effect.
Though I think didn't Scatterboo go before Martin? I thought.
No, I
Well,
think he went like
he
round
went
4.
after. He went after.
He went
Okay,
round
yeah, he
4.
went before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking Stout or Scatterboo, but yeah, they could have gone with Scatterboo. And Scatterboo, I mean, I just watched a little bit of that Hard Knocks NFC East last night. And, he's just that guy's going to be a really good NFL player for a long time. Scatterboo's going to be a good one.
It would have been nice if the Niners could have spent a higher draft pick on a running back. Maybe Jordan James will end up being good, but they stink at running the ball for whatever reason, and maybe another running back would have helped. Although they do have a couple guys who haven't gotten shots. Maybe I don't know. I want to see Garendo. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I
I
don't
got
trust Garendo because Garendo fumbles all the time. But Brian Robinson should have seen the ball more. And man, if Jordan James is a really good player, man, they're really being conservative. Yeah, I'm assuming guys who have not touched the field at this point probably can't play. But I shouldn't because I think Jordan Watkins is pretty good, and he just hasn't played. So who knows? Maybe Jordan
I don't
James is
make that
great.
assumption because Jake Tonjes can't touch the field, and we know he can play. So
Yeah.
sometimes Kyle Shanahan is just very faithful to seniority. Showtime says, "Thank you both so much for the birthday message. Ha, my fiance reached out and you graciously took the time to do that. It meant a lot to me. You're both absolute stand-up guys. Go Niners." That's right. Larry always comes through. I try to. Jay Boogie, $5. Thank you. Bill Kennedy says, "Grant, you need to start doing infomercials." Appreciate it. Billy Mays here. And Patillo says, just wanted to say what's up to both my dogs. What's up? Jay Boogie says, been watching since 2019 from Lincoln, Nebraska. Want to ask
Wow.
in this game specifically, who's the most important players and why in this game?
Uh, Curtis
Tatum
Robinson.
Bethune.
Well, yeah, is Tatum Bethune back?
Tatum Bethune, Sam
Yeah.
O, anyone who can defend the run. My
Yeah,
goodness.
Jonathan Taylor is 230 and runs in the 4.3s. So it better be a linebacker. Maybe Malik Mustafa, somebody who
Yep.
can come up and deliver a hit.
I mean, they're going to be able to. I mean, Renardo Green's going to have to tackle. Danielle Lenore is going to have to tackle. It's all 11. He averages 6.2 yards per carry at home. This is a big ask. Yanni Dub says, do you think we will ever see CMC run more than 20 yards this season or postseason? That's great. That's a great prize picks question, man. More or less 20 yards ever again.
This is what happens when you have no explosive plays in the pass game. Everybody plays you inside of a 12-yard box, and they put defenders right in the spots where it's hard to get a big-time run. So I would say no, we're not going to see it because what's going to have to come first is Pearsall is going to have to dominate, or Watkins or Cowan going to have to get on the field and make plays. If that happens, defenders move back. If the defenders move back, then McCaffrey gets his 20-yard run. With the defenders all up, no chance.
All right. This defense is no good, Larry. Anytime they face an offense with any talent, they struggle. I mean, Tennessee didn't really have much talent, and they scored 20-something points. Who on defense will step up down the stretch, if anyone will? Assuming someone will.
Here's the thing. We all better hope that multiple somebodies step up or they're done. Right? They can't win with a defense that just is, no resistance. So I'm going to say Keon White. I like what I'm seeing from Keon White. He's a great athlete. He was a second-round pick. He didn't play in New England not because he wasn't good, it was just because he wasn't a scheme fit. So now you got this guy who is a scheme fit, who's fresh, who's got the pedigree of being a second-round pick, who's big and strong and athletic. And is he an ideal edge rusher? Is he an ideal interior rusher? No. But you know what he is a beautiful combo, and he looked good. So I think Keon White might hold, some real, scary potential in the final month.
Like that. I feel like Tatum Bethune and Sam Okwanu have potential too because they're going to need to stop the run. They haven't really stopped the run well since Michael Williams went down. And I think Sam O and Tatum Bethune are really good run defenders. Maybe that's overselling it. I think they're really good run defenders and good overall players. So those guys will make a big difference. But then there's one guy or two guys who have been really bad, in my opinion, this year and need to step it up, have to step it up, or else this defense is cooked. And it's D Winters and Luke Gifford. Because I feel like at this point, if you put 2 or 3 tight ends on the field and get the Niners into a base defense, you can go with those two guys. They're going to be in zone. You can turn them around. They get lost. Each of the last 2 games, the Niners have given up touchdown passes to wide open rookie tight ends who should have been covered by linebackers, but weren't. So, I mean, those guys got to step it up and stop being utter liabilities in coverage.
This is a huge factor in this game. If the 49ers can't cover Tyler Warren and can't defend Jonathan Taylor, I could be
It's over.
quarterbacking and they could, still going to lose. I mean, they have to be able to defend the tight end. This is one of the NFL's best tight ends. They have to be able to stop the run. And this guy's a whole lot better than the guys that they haven't been able to stop for the last 3 weeks. So on paper, this game looks very, very difficult.
Does, right? I mean, if you can't stop Jonathan Taylor, you better score 40. And I don't know that the Niners, because the thing about the Colts is that their defense is pretty good. I mean, they have DeForest Buckner. They give up 17 points a game at home. I don't know that the Niners are going to score 35, 40 points in this game. So the defense has to stand up. And yeah, the quarterback, Phillip Rivers, is only going to check it down, and he's not going to be really that dangerous, but he probably won't beat himself. And all he has to do is keep you honest if the running back is going for 6 yards a carry, like freaking Tony Pollard did last week.
One thing we don't know is we don't know for sure if Buckner's going to go. I've talked to a couple different people from Indy. Some people think he's going to go. Other people think he's not going to go.
Okay.
So we'll find out maybe as we get closer to the game.
Okay. I don't want to put that. Hold on. How do I get that off? There you go.
Especially around the holidays, it feels like there's a new scam popping up every day. Fake deals, weird payment requests, stuff that just doesn't feel right. That's why I'm a lot more careful than I used to be when I'm sending money and why I've really come to appreciate Cash App. Scammers know the holidays are busy for everyone, which can make us all targets for scams. And that's why Cash App builds in protections to help keep your money safe while you're checking off your shopping list. If you're about to send money to someone for a deal that's too good to be true, and then Cash App flags it as a potential scam, they'll warn you before you send the money. Cash App also gives you an extra layer of protection with features like security lock. You can require a PIN, Face ID, or fingerprint to unlock your account and move money. So even if someone gets a hold of your unlocked phone at a holiday party, your money is right where you left it. That's extra peace of mind, and it goes a long way this time of year. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can get our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, just download Cash App, use our exclusive referral code, which is Secure10. Secure10 is our exclusive referral code in your profile. Then send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures.
Next one is, who do you think will step up on offense if someone will step up?
Uh, this is going to be kind of bizarre to say this because people will be like, what? Why would you say this? But the way Kyle Shanahan said that Jacob Cowing's window is going to be open makes me feel like he's got a real plan to get Cowing on the field. And, it's about time, right? This guy was a 4th-round pick 2 years ago. But they could have cut him easily long ago. So obviously there's somebody who's a big fan of his. And the way Shanahan was like, we're going to open his practice window, next week. And he's very excited about it. I just feel like he understands he needs to get some dynamic plays in the pass game. This guy is not much as a return guy, but he is a very good down the field receiver who can catch the ball. So he's small, but down the field, there's not a lot of big defenders. So I would not be shocked if Jacob Cowing is that guy that comes out of nowhere. The other thing is I talked to DeMarcus Robinson in the locker room after this game, and I mentioned to him, I said, hey, man, this team isn't using you the way you need to be utilized. I go, where's all the rub routes? Where's all the pick plays? Where's all the red zone targets? And he's like, hey, yeah, I know, man. He's like, I know exactly what you're saying. He's like, well, I don't want to say nothing because we're winning. But I mean, they have severely underutilized DeMarcus Robinson. He is a very good red zone goal line rub route receiver. They have barely even targeted him once in the red zone all year.
It's true. It seems to me that the Jauan Jennings thing, it's not as like a distraction like Brandon Ayuk, but he held out too. He requested a trade too. He was just as disgruntled. He had a verbal, I'm not going to say altercation, but he was arguing with Kyle Shanahan on the sideline during a game. And it feels like the Niners have bent over backwards to appease Jauan Jennings by feeding him the ball so he can hit his incentives. And he's close. There's like, $3-4 million at stake here. And as a result, people like DeMarcus Robinson have completely fallen through the cracks. Kendrick Bourne, who you could argue has been their best wide receiver all season. I mean, he had back-to-back games of 142 yards. Has Ricky Pearsall ever done that in his life? Has Jauan Jennings ever done that in his life? I don't know. Maybe not. I'm just saying.
It does make you wonder if we're looking at one show for the regular season and JJ's worried about getting his bonuses and that kind of thing. In the playoffs, are we going to see a totally different kind of pecking order because it's just going to be about who's open? Because I get the feeling that Bourne
no more thousand for McCaffrey. None of this drama for Jennings. It might just be about who the best players are. What a concept.
Yeah, and who's open? You know,
Yeah.
I'd like to see Jordan Watkins. Shanahan says that Jordan Watkins is not beating anybody out in practice. Well, let's see. Maybe it's on him, but man, I have a feeling that when Jordan Watkins gets out there, people are going to be like, "Where's this guy been?"
Okay, I think this is a perfect transition. Who's the one player who deserves more playing time? Who the team would be better off if they gave this guy an opportunity or a role?
Uh, there's probably a couple guys to be completely honest. Um,
It's
I've
probably
been
are.
I've been I don't love their implementation of their talent. I mean,
Yeah.
Nick Martin, I think probably should play more. CJ West probably should play more. I don't know if you saw any of the footage of CJ
CJ West
West.
is a good call. He looks good. I don't
He's
understand why he's
stronger than
behind
Kalia Davis against the
Kalia
run.
Davis. I don't get that.
Yeah, he's much stronger against double teams than Kalia Davis. Brian Robinson, definitely. Tonjes barely plays at all. Tonjes is a good receiver, and yet the Niners show no interest at all in two tight end formations using Kittle and Tonjes. Then when they go two tight ends, it seems like they want to go Kittle and Farrell and try to get some kind of run advantage. But how about put two sticky-handed tight ends out there and run two tight ends, but throw the ball? I wouldn't mind seeing that. And the other guy for sure is Jordan Watkins. Jordan Watkins, come on, this guy caught 9 touchdowns in the SEC last year, and now he's not good enough to ever play. He's got 4.37 speed. They're underutilizing him, and they need to get him out there. He's just too valuable.
I'm gonna say one more guy, and this is maybe controversial, but I still feel like I'd like to see this person get a little more playing time, considering he's had none. Isaac Garendo. Again, I know he's had some fumbling issues. We saw him do it 3 times in one practice, but this is a running game that is just the worst. And it's not just bad, but it's like plotting and not explosive. This guy, if you gave him 7 carries in a game, he might pop one. I'm looking right now. What was his longest carry last season? 76 yards?
Well,
I'm just
forget
saying it might
forget
add an element
carries.
to the offense that it clearly doesn't have and needs.
In a year where Roger Craig may make it to the Hall of Fame, you have one of the biggest, fastest backs in the league who has great hands. You're telling me that there's never a good opportunity to put Isaac Garendo on the field and swing it to him out of the backfield where he's got one guy to miss. And, this guy's got 4.38 speed at 230 pounds. And he's active every week, but you just use him on special teams. And you never, ever, he's got great receiving ability. You've thrown him no passes, none. I mean, that's
Larry,
that's negligence.
you know who has the
He's that
longest run
good
of
of
the
a
year for the
receiver.
Niners?
What's that?
You know who has the longest run of the year for the 49ers?
Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christian's at 20, Brian Robinson's at 19.
Crazy.
I don't think they complement each other. I mean, I don't think either one's particularly fast anymore. McCaffrey's a hell of a receiver, but he shouldn't be the leading receiver on the team. And as a running back, man, they got to try someone else at some point. At some point, you got to. They're second to last in the league in yards per attempt.
And they got 2 starting caliber running backs. I mean, it doesn't really speak too well for your offensive line. You also have a
They
fullback.
panic traded for Brian Robinson right before the season to not really use him, and I don't really understand what that was about.
In a draft where there was a ton of running backs and Kyle Monange went in the 7th round, you took Jordan James 2 rounds earlier.
That's true. It's a good point. Okay. Here's the big question of the day. I know we're going kind of quick through this show, but that's all right. Give me the one player the Niners can least afford to lose. Like what I'm saying is they've already lost Bosa, Warner, Mykel Williams. They're still 10-4. If there's one more player that you feel like if they lose this guy, forget it. All hopes are lost. Who is it?
Bryce Huff.
Interesting.
Gotta have some
Okay.
pass rush.
Why? He's
Gotta
the
have
pass
somebody.
rusher.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one guy who, the offensive line has to be really concerned about. He makes plays against the run. He makes plays against the pass. I mean, to me, he's super dynamic, and you're already kind of hurting there. And if you lose him, you're not nearly as good. I mean, you quarterback, somebody's going to hold the ball for 8 or 9 seconds and just break you down if you didn't have Bryce Huff.
That's a great call. It's not the one
Who
I
you
would
gonna go
go
with?
with, but I think it's a great call. And if you're going to go with someone on defense, it's him. Because, like, I'm sorry, Lenore's really good, but you don't have to even go after Lenore. You can just throw at Gifford, Winters, Brown. So, okay, I would go with Trent Williams. To me, like, you can make an argument for anyone in the offense, but it's like they beat the Rams, the number 1 seed in the NFC, without Brock, without Kittle. I think they're undefeated without Kittle this year. No, they lost to the Jaguars. They beat the Rams without Ricky, without Jauan, without Bosa. I think they can replace Pearsall. They always have another guy who fits the system on offense. But the whole system seems to be built around one Hall of Fame left tackle who needs no backup, who needs no chip, who needs no help. You just forget about him and help everyone else. If he were to go down, I think the offense would go from being really good to really bad really fast.
It's a good call. I've been saying that all year that I don't think the Niners have a third tackle. So I've been saying, and by the way, Trent Williams and Colton McKivitz have played every single snap, I believe, at tackle this
Trent
year.
hasn't done this since he was like 25, man. Like, he's quietly, even though he's not as good as he was a couple of years ago, they can't afford him to miss a snap. And he's not. If he were to
Austin
go down, who would
Pleasant's
play
not
left
a guy.
tackle? Austin Pleasance?
Yeah, they would have a hard time. They would have a
Or they
really hard
move Burford over there? I don't know.
I don't even know. I
I
mean,
don't even know.
it would be Pleasance, but I think Pleasance would probably play right tackle and McKivitz would move to left tackle, maybe. I don't know. Or they try to have
McKivitz.
only one guy out of position and keep McKivitz at right tackle. But either way, they don't have a third tackle. It hasn't burned them yet. But yes, I mean, I gave you my name, but if I was thinking it again, I'd probably go with either tackle, even though we know Trent's playing way better than McKivitz. But they can't afford to lose either tackle
Yeah.
because they don't have a third tackle that's NFL caliber.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that like Bryce Huff or Trent Williams are the best players on the team. It
Right.
just means they're like, who's the backup? I mean, with Brock, he's a really good player, but we saw this team win a bunch of games with his backup. And same thing with George Kittle, hell of a player, but like Jake Tonjes was stepping up and making plays. Uh, Bourne was arguably better than Pearsall, at least more productive. If Christian McCaffrey went down, it would hurt the offense, yes, but like they can't run the ball with him. So yeah, that's why I would lean towards Trent in this one. I do think the Huff one was clever, and maybe the answer is Eddie Pinheiro. Although they were fine with it. Matt Gay stepped up.
Well, you know what? If I could redo it, I would just say either tackle and say and because I really
Colton's
think
in that question in that conversation too.
yeah, but if they have to go to Pleasance, we're all going to see right then and there that they only have two tackles. They've been maintaining that they like their tackles and this and that, but Pleasance looked great in minicamp. He has not looked good since minicamp.
No. Okay. Yanni Dub says, Grant, Larry, any advice for 49ers content creators on YouTube? You guys are the GOATs.
Stick with it, man. And I would say, diversify as much as you possibly can in everything that you do, as far as what you do, your guests, your sponsors, your social media connections, don't build up one and don't build and at the expense of another. If you're really going to make this your profession, monetize on TikTok and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, and build and build and build and build and build and don't be discouraged and have confidence.
I would agree with what Larry said. He's done it. I've done
You're
it.
you're the GOAT, dude. You're the guy with the 200,000 followers. I should have shut the fuck up and let you
No, no,
talk.
no, 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 no. Larry started about like 3 years after me, and Larry's taking off like a freaking rocket. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's got a great operation there. Listen to everything Larry says. I would just say listen to Larry, but those things were right. And I think he was before me on going to Facebook and TikTok and stuff. I'm kind of following him on those things. That's crucial. Also, what I would say is Larry does a great job of this. Is like network. Get to know other Niners content creators and try to stream with them. Maybe some
Yeah.
won't want to because they're like not, you're not quite on their level yet, but there's a bunch of people who are. And then you meet someone who stream with them and all of a sudden you have your own network and you can sort of start climbing by association. A lot of people do that. I mean, I think it's a pretty easy way to get fast forwarded in this industry.
Be yourself, because you know what? If you're yourself, you're an original. If you're a bad copy on somebody else, you're that. So just be yourself, and just don't be deterred, and understand that it's kind of a long, hard road, and it's kind of like swimming against current. So the algorithm tends to kind of push against you, and then you got to swim past certain markers, and then it starts to help you. So I would say stick with it.
Just watch it. Basically, yeah, that's the thing. Stick with it. You got to be relentless, because the thing about Larry and me, we may or may not have the best football takes. Some of our takes are really good. Some of our takes were wrong. But you know what? We do this every day. We always show up. Larry and I are going to have a stream for you at some point today. And that there's comfort in that. Like, I know a lot of people that might have better takes than me. There's a lot of people who know sports, but are you willing to put yourself out there? Are you willing to do this every single day? Are you willing to be wrong sometimes? Because if the answer is no, then you're not even going to get started. And so that's the key. You got to be relentless. You got to do it every freaking day.
You got to work, dude. If you don't want to work, a lot of people are like, I want to do that so I don't have to work. Well, no, you know what? It's fun, so it doesn't seem like work, but you're going to work. You're going to work harder than you've ever worked.
Every day. No
Yep.
days off.
Yep.
And the only reason I do it is because I really don't see it as work. I get anxious when I don't do this.
Right. Well, you found a way to just use this as an avenue to, express, how you want to communicate. And then you're looking to communicate more. You're not looking to communicate less. And yeah, I think the whole thing is great too, because it's like, it's visual. There's, it's growing. It's an awesome platform. And I would just say, have fun with it, man. That's the other thing too, is that you're going to be other people's fun. So like, people got to work, right? They don't want to come home and be miserable. They want to either be entertained, pissed off, made to laugh, made to, whatever. So you gotta put something into it.
I totally agree. That's a good question. Thank you. Dazza says, can Kyle not use Garendo to do some of what Debo did with the Gadget plays? He has the size and speed. Oh, yeah. Another guy that the Niners, that I wanted to mention. I feel like Sky Moore has earned one touch on. I know he's had a few, but not in a while. Garendo, maybe he hasn't earned anything this year, but Sky Moore has been so freaking good on special teams. One end around, one screen. In a game that matters, it'd be a shame if they lost in the playoffs, scored 20 points, and didn't use him at all on offense. Like, that to me is a real bullet in the chamber that they could use.
You know what? Think about it too. What is Sky Moore really great at? He's got this unbelievable fearlessness, and he will take it up the field a million miles an hour. What do you have to do on an end around? You have to take it up the field. You don't sit there and read blocks and side to side. You're up the field. It's north south. It's right now. Let's go. You're right. Sky Moore, get him the ball on an end around or a reverse and tell him to take it north south, and you may bust one. If you don't do that once a half, that's negligence.
It just seems like such a no-brainer. He's such a weapon. He's been the best returner they've had in decades. Come on, throw him a freaking bro. Not just for him either. I think it'd be for the offense. An offense that lacks explosive plays, that can't run the ball. How about instead of just handing it off to McCaffrey and living with those 3 yards, let him flip it to Sky Moore? I mean, no one would go with him. Everyone, you haven't done it once. It would work. Oh my God. It was like when you use the zone read with Brock Purdy at the goal line. Like, yeah, because you've never done it ever. Do it once.
Get the ball. I'll tell you one thing that has to happen. Whether it's Sky Moore, Ricky Pearsall, Jordan Watkins, Jacob Cowing, you got to get one of your guys that can run well into the mix. It doesn't matter which one it is, but one of your guys that can make big. They're not getting explosives because they don't let explosive players touch the football. Get your explosive players the ball, touches on the ball, and then I'll I'll take my chances. At that point, I don't know what you want to call, how you want to call it. It's up to you. You got to get your explosive players to touch the football.
When your most explosive player is your 32-year-old tight end, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem. It's not nothing against Kittle. It just he shouldn't be faster than your wide receivers. And I know Pearsall's fast, but every time they give him, why I wanted to talk about Pearsall. We didn't talk about him at all. One player who needs to step up. How about Ricky Pearsall, man? I mean, like every time they give him the ball, like 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and it's like, okay, Ricky's really finally asserting himself as a go-to guy, he gets hurt. What is he? Is he a guy that you can only throw 3 or 4 passes to a game, or can you finally start to be like, we're going to get 100-yard game week in and week out from you the way we used to from Ayuk?
Man, as soon as the season was over, if I was John Lynch, I'd call Jacksonville and say, I'll give him to you for Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. is not doing it over there. Ricky is from that part. He went to college out there, for a little while at Florida. I like Ricky. I know people think I don't. The same reason I'm saying sign Jauan Jennings is the same reason I'm like, where the hell's Ricky? Jauan scores touchdowns. He's a money player. Ricky does not score touchdowns. Score a touchdown. Now, it's one thing if you don't score a touchdown in the first month. And it's one thing if you don't do it by October. If I'm making New Year's Eve plans, I mean, if I had told you in July, Grant, that Tonjes would have 4 more touchdowns on December 17th than Ayuk, Demarcus Robinson, and Ricky Pearsall combined, what kind of record do the Niners have? You would have been like, they're going to be horrible. And somehow they're a 10-win team, and those 3 guys have combined for 0 touchdowns, and Tonjes has 4. I mean, it's unbelievable. They got to get Ricky they got to get Ricky on the field with some consistency, or they got to figure out a new place for him. Because I mean, that pick's looking bad right now. I mean, you've got a first-round draft choice this year in McKell that has 1 sack. You've got a second-year player in Ricky who should be absolutely taking off as a sophomore. Instead, he has no touchdowns.
Ricky's good, and he's fast, and he moves well. But you know who else was fast and moved well? Dante Pettis. And I do think that Ricky Pearsall is better than Dante Pettis. But in 2 seasons with the Niners, Dante Pettis scored 7 touchdowns. I mean, this guy scored 3. So, like to your point, what's the problem? And even if he didn't score touchdowns and all he did was average like 17 yards a catch and stretch the field, that'd be great. But again, if every time you catch 7 or 8 passes in a game, you go down and you're out for a month, then what good are you? So I don't know. They need to get some consistency from Ricky Pearsall, because when he does play well, he seems like an elite wide receiver. Like the first month of the year, I was like, man, Jackson Smith-Njigba, he's no Ricky Pearsall. Now I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever thought or said out loud. What? But he can play like that sometimes, although he's not going to give you touchdowns.
Here's the one thing that all of the best receivers have, from Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, all the great ones, Jerry Rice going way, way back, Michael Irvin. They're all really, really, really tough. Randy Moss, really tough. Jauan Jennings. How many guys have told me that Jauan Jennings is one of the toughest guys in the entire locker room? I kind of believe him. So toughness is the most underrated aspect of being a great wide receiver. And that's, you got to win at the line of scrimmage. You got to win. You got to beat guys. It's a hand fight. You got to be tough. You got to be tough.
Why didn't Pettis work out? Why didn't Pettis live up to his draft status? Because he wasn't particularly tough.
You can't beat the jam. Why did A.J. Jenkins, who with his 4.31 speed, never do jack? Because he can't get off the line of scrimmage. This guy gets off the line of scrimmage, but if you notice, he never catches the ball early. It's always late. It's always late in the play. Why? Because he doesn't beat anybody really clean at the line, usually.
No catches the ball early? Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
Kendrick Bourne. JJ2.
Yeah. These are tough guys. You got to play, it's a hand fight with some really tough players. So, his physicality, I think, my whole thing was him. People were like, oh, he's Julian Edelman. And I'm like, oh God, I don't want to hear that. Julian Edelman's like the toughest receiver ever.
I also heard he was gonna be Cooper Kupp. The guy I was comparing him to this offseason when I was really I drafted him high in fantasy, that was a big mistake. Odell Beckham. I was like, "Man, Odell Beckham wasn't that big and he had injury issues, but man, could he move."
Yeah.
But even Odell seemed like a little bit more
Odell, I think, could
durable
take a
on the
bigger
field.
pop. He could take a
Yeah,
bigger he could take a bigger pop and hold on.
I would
I mean,
agree.
Ricky doesn't fumble or anything, and I think he wants to be good and everything. I don't want to be hard on the guy, but at the same time, it's like, bro, you can't be along for the ride when you're a first round draft choice. You have to drive the bus. You can't just be on the back hanging out. You gotta drive the bus. You're the part. You're it. You're the guy. You're the downfield passing attack. If you do it, the Niners may win the Super Bowl. If you don't, they may not. I mean, you're a key factor. You're not just a young guy have. Sometimes he comes across like, hey man, I'm a young guy having fun with my buds. Okay, but this is pro football, man, and it's now or never. Trent Williams doesn't have next year maybe or the year after. He's feeling the urgency and he's playing his ass off. All I would say is match him. Match what he's putting out there, out of respect for him. So I know Ricky's doing the best he can, but this, I really, there's no. It says on the wall in the Niner locker room, no excuses. All right, so there you go.
How many games in Ricky's career has he had more than 6 catches?
None.
Guess. 2.
I'd say none. Oh, okay, two.
2. Detroit last year and Arizona this year. It's like every time it seems like they try to really show that he's a first round pick, wide receiver 1, he gets hurt. He definitely has the skill to do it, but you gotta be you have to be able to do it every week, and they need him to do that right now. I don't think it was a coincidence that last week they stopped throwing to their running back a bajillion times. They throw to Kittle and Pearsall. They scored 37. Those are your explosive players this year, and Jennings too. He caught 2 touchdowns. He was money at the goal line, but if you
Well,
want explosiveness, it's got to be Ricky.
yeah, I mean, they don't have explosives. They're
Uh-uh.
really low on explosives but they're not throwing it or giving explosive players. They're not touching the ball. I can't wait until Watkins gets out there because I think there's going to be a lot of Niner fans who are like, where has this guy been once he starts actually playing and performing? Because he's got speed, he's got strength, he's got production, he can do it. And I know Shanahan said, well, he's got to earn it in practice, he's got to beat somebody in practice. Okay, but just remember that you could hold him out for a long time, but if once you put him on the field, if he looks like a certain level player, you are going to be open to some criticism if he looks really, really good.
It has nothing to do. I don't buy Kyle when he says that. I don't buy it. I think it's roster politics. I think it's the fact that Jauan Jennings has 495 receiving yards and 44 catches, and he gets big time bonuses when he hits 600 yards and 60 catches. Once he hits those, I think maybe there could be some opportunities for Jacob Cowing, Jordan Watkins. But until then, they're going to do everything they can to keep him happy because they don't want to deal with him being upset. I think they've made that pretty clear. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
They're going to keep feeding Jauan.
It's one of those things. I don't like pulling rank on people and be like, oh, you don't, I'm there, you're not there. But I will say this, the one advantage of being in the room, you feel the gravity of Jauan Jennings, where if you're not in that room, you may not feel that gravity. And this is a guy, we're talking about, well, you may not want to piss off Jauan Jennings. And that doesn't play to somebody who's never been in the room or around him. But if you've been in the room and you have been around him, you feel the hostility coming off of him towards sometimes his teammates if he's not going to get the ball. Now, he would deny that, but don't tell me that Kendrick Bourne went from 150 yards in back-to-back games to basically persona non grata, never touches the ball because he forgot how to play. It's just they're not going to him, and he knows. So it's like he walked into the room, he didn't know the score. He just said, I'm playing. And Mac Jones was like, I'm the backup quarterback. I'm just thinking survival. But once everybody got a few minutes to figure out the score, oh, JJ's the big dog in here. Oh, he's got incentives that he needs to meet. Oh, everything else gets lined behind that. Then all of a sudden the vibe changed. Bourne wind up doing nothing. Like if JJ tomorrow got hurt, I think Bourne could really do big things. But if
Hell yeah.
JJ's there until he gets these incentives, Bourne is almost, like the enemy. I know that sounds crazy to people, and JJ would deny it, Shanahan would deny it, everybody would deny it. Everybody would say it's crazy talk, and it's
It's a
absolutely
meritocracy. We play the best players.
true.
Yeah, sure you do.
No, it's
Sure
about
you do.
make JJ, who's hostile, not hostile. They
Yeah,
don't
as
want
long
it to
as
be
he's still
hostile.
on the team, as long as you want him, you're gonna wanna keep him happy.
Yeah,
I
makes
mean, you
sense.
didn't with Brandon Ayuk, but you clearly need Jauan Jennings, maybe because Brandon Ayuk's gone. So they're gonna give him the ball,
I think
and they
they're going to
won't
give
give
him
it to
a
Sky Moore.
contract. I think they're going to give him a contract because there's no more Ayuk. I really do.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's really the way. Well, I'm 50-50 on that. One, Kyle Shanahan loves people that he knows who know his system. He doesn't really like making new friends. It seems like he knows Jauan. He likes Jauan. But then there's Jed, and Jed's been so frugal about re-signing people that aren't named Brock or George or Fred. And if this guy wants $20 million a year, I could see Kyle saying yes, and Jed being like no. And the thing is, like, they could extend him today, but they haven't. And if he hits the open market, he's probably going to get the money he wants from someone. So I don't know about that. I don't know.
I hear you.
Yeah,
He's going to have to want to come back, but I'm
I can see
also
that.
banking on some postseason success that's going to want him to come back. That hasn't happened yet.
That's smart. That's smart. T Guns 80 says we could have had Lad McConkey. Happy holidays. T Guns 80 says Grant looking like Cheddar Bob. I resent that. Thank you. Yanni Dub says why were we able to run against the Falcons? Because the Falcons have a light pass rush focused defense.
Yeah, I mean they don't have edge centers. They have Jalen Walker and they have James Pierce, and those guys are 230, 240, and you can, the McKivitses of the world are weighing 300, 310, and they really, that was the game where they busted out a lot of power, a lot of gap, and they just kind of ran it down their throat.
Yep. They haven't been able to do that against anyone else. Bill Kennedy says, what short of Super Bowl win would you consider a success?
I mean, that's hard because you don't want to be like, too ridiculous about things. But I think, it really isn't about us, right? It's more about them. And I would say, as far as they're concerned, Grant knows this, there is an intensity. Now, these guys are fun-loving guys as far as Trent, Kittle, CMC, Purdy. But this year, I've noticed it in the last month, there is an intensity about all of the guys who have been here a long time. Demo. They know they should have had an effing ring on their finger by now, and they don't have it. They also know they got a shot this year because it's kind of a wide open deal. And I see a focus and an intensity from the Niners stars who have come up short that I can recognize as a difference than past years. So I think the Niners, if you ask them across the board, they would absolutely say it's all or nothing.
All right, a little break from the content to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. This 49er football season is presented on the Krueger Show by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, and of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry, Larry, and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply.
Got a few minutes left. Larry, what is something that you and I, or maybe just you, we'll see how I feel about it, disagree with Kyle Shanahan about?
Well, I think Kyle Shanahan, is trying to make I think we already covered it. He's trying to make JJ happy. Okay. So that's really what's going on. And that's priority 1, 2, and 3. That's bigger priority than DeMarcus Robinson's comfort or Pearsall's touches or Bourne's comfort or Sky Moore's looks. But I don't believe that Jordan Watkins doesn't look good. He looked great in training camp. He made plays down the field. He played in the SEC. This guy didn't play at Montana. This guy played for Ole Miss. He had 9 touchdowns against the best athletes in all of college football last year. And now you're telling us he's not doing it on the practice field? This guy, he might be right. I'm not out on the practice field. I'm only there for the beginning of practice. But I saw training camp every day of it, And this guy was absolutely a difference-making, down the field, impact receiver of note with ball skills and run after the catch ability. And I just don't buy that. I do not buy at all that he's not one of their 5 or 6 best receivers. I think he's probably as good or better than all those guys. I really believe that. I definitely know. Now, I understand Sky Moore's the return guy, so he's got one job. I understand Ricky and JJ, but you've got Bourne and Demarcus Robinson, and it's like you probably should just choose one or the other and put Watkins or Cowing on the field, and throw the ball down the field and stretch the field a little bit instead of 2 slow veteran possession receivers. I would choose. I mean, they got good depth here, but come on, Kyle. Don't tell me Jordan Watkins isn't a player when I saw him do it in the SEC last year, and I know he can play.
We saw him do it in training camp. We saw him do it in preseason. I really feel like he can do a lot of what Ricky Pearsall can do. So I'm with you on that one. There's one other. I disagreed with one thing you said, and you were so close to getting there. You're like, appeasing Jauan is priority 1, 2, and 3 over, and you listed a bunch of players. You didn't list one player, and I would say this one player goes above Jauan, or at least has until recently, and it's Christian. And I don't get that one because Christian already got the extension. Was he up for another one? I mean, he's 29. Last year was rough, but it seems like getting him 1,000 this year has been such a point of emphasis. And it's like, I don't know that that's really what the offense needs. I mean, he's averaging 3.5 yards a carry. He's a good receiver, but you don't need to throw 7 or 8 checkdowns a game. That's sort of like a last resort. So I'm not saying bench Christian McCaffrey, but 22 carries a game. Like, Kyle, at some point you need to back off of the Christian McCaffrey. It's not going to happen anymore. It's been 2 years since he's had a 21-yard carry. You got to mix it up on the ground. Do something else. Please.
If you had no other backs, I'm with you. But come on, you got Brian Robinson. You got Garendo. You got Jordan James. I mean, I'll tell you right now, Jordan James, body type wise, is exactly what you want. Right? He's short and he's stocky. I mean, you're talking about 5'8", 5'9", easily 215, 220 pounds, maybe more. He's got the running back build. I mean, I'm very curious to see what Jordan James could be like.
Certainly, and I think we brought this up earlier, but Sky Moore, instead of thinking of him as a wide receiver who's going to take targets away from Jauan Jennings, why don't you think of him as an extension of the running game, the screens, the end arounds? I mean, he's just a way to get the ball on the perimeter. You don't have to throw it to him, or you can throw it to him behind the line of scrimmage, but you got to get big plays somehow. And I guarantee you handing it off to Christian McCaffrey on 1st and 10 isn't the way to do it. There's got to be something else there that you build on top of that.
Got to get the ball, the guys who are explosive. And it's not like, oh, who are they? It's hard to really decipher. No, it's not. It's really easy. Ricky Pearsall, Sky Moore, Jordan Watkins, Jacob Cowing, Isaac Garendo. These are the guys that can really, really run. Get them the ball. Get him the ball. Let him touch it. Especially Garendo in the pass game. He's an elite receiver. I understand why he's not trustworthy as a fumbler. You don't want to hand it to him between the tackles. Fine. But swing it to him in the flat 2 or 3 times a game with that guy's speed and athleticism. He's always one missed tackle away from a house call. And they don't give themselves a chance. You can't score an explosive play if you don't let an explosive player touch the ball.
Well put. Mr. Fish and Chip says, Parappa Cohn the Rappa. GC, you have the look nailed. How many of you guys remember Parappa the Rappa, like one of the original games on PlayStation? That was 30 years ago. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. I appreciate you giving me some time on this Wednesday. We'll be down at Santa Clara tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, everyone. Take care.